Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. So, today's gameplay, sent in via replay by MadGelo, or MadGelo, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it, please let me know in the comment section down below, is just a perfect demonstration what an impact, what kind of a damage a single helicopter can inflict on the enemy team. And this is not even the best helicopter, it's a pretty good helicopter. It is the British Premium Battle Rating 10.0 helicopter, the G-LYNX, and it is just played to near perfection in this gameplay. And you know, whatever you think about helicopters, the way that MadGelo is demonstrating here his maneuvering, positioning and prioritization of the targets is just an excellent gameplay. You just simply have to respect the skill that this player has put into this match, and the result is quite impressive. Also then the influence on the outcome of the game, because it will get close, let's put it that way, and I can be sure 100% that this would have not been possible without this player. On the other hand, the same could be said about this KF-50 in the enemy team, because as you can see with the kill messages, he is already on it, and he now has achieved a triple kill before MadGelo has even seen a target inside, because he's really carefully picking his position. And you know, a KF-50 is just a fearsome opponent, even when being attacked by aircraft or other helicopters. So yeah, the Italian map, or the Italy map, is just providing so much cover for this. I know that helicopters are doing this. I shoot them down sometimes with my air-to-air missiles, with the SAM systems. I demonstrated it very well with the Roland 1 and the German Napalmratte 1. And as you can see, he is now shooting 2 missiles and he gets some nice kills. Now, it needs to be said that if he would fight some Western MBTs, it would be significantly harder, but Soviet tanks, as you can see, are very easy to one-shot. Either you knock out 2 crew members and that's a crew kill, or you hit the ammunition, which has no blowout panel possibility, unlike some Western MBTs. And so the ammunition carousel in the middle of the tank is actually a pretty big target. Everybody knows how easy Soviet tanks die, especially with side shots. And despite them having era protection and also composite armor combination, the armament of the G-LYNX is just perfect to deal with them. It punches clean through anyway. So I guess he's using the ATGM 114B Hellfire missiles, of which he has 8 available, and they have 1100 millimeters of heat penetration. And then he also has, to support him versus aircraft, other helicopters, the AIM-92 Stinger air-to-air missile, of which he has 4, and they're also pretty good. We have here 1000 meters per second maximum speed, we have a maximum overload capacity of 18 Gs, and also a pretty hefty 3.2 kilogram TNT warhead. He can lock on enemy aircraft and helicopters in all aspects at 4.5 kilometers range, and in rear aspect even 7 kilometers. So they're pretty good, and I think this shall be shown in today's video. So he has now completed the first turnaround with an ace, 5 kills, and he has now returned after like what, 8 minutes, which is roughly a third of today's gameplay, and he is now returning already with a full load of missiles to the combat zone. Now the battle is swinging forwards and backwards. Sometimes the enemy team has some caps, sometimes his team has caps, and now the enemy team is already again in an advantage. And it's now 10.5 minutes and he is back in the fight, and he looks carefully, and there is an SBA, and that seems to be the primary target. So let me just quickly introduce you why this is a swan song. Again, because as of next patch, it will no longer be possible to spawn helicopters with ATGMs. And I think this is a fair compromise, but the original complaints about the current situation have not been resolved by Gaijin. And it's not like a thing that is a week old or a month old. No, this is essentially since the introduction of helicopters the same problem. When helicopters were very firstly introduced, they were kind of okay because you still had to gain some spawn points, and then you could use a helicopter. Then people complained, and then the dedicated helicopter game modes were not really populated to Gaijin's satisfaction. Only to this day the arcade mode remains. The RB mode was just cancelled, which is one of the issues that we currently have, because people necessarily don't like arcade. That's just the way that it's an inherent selling point of War Thunder to have a realistic game mode, right? If you want to play arcade, a lot of people come up with the arguments, play some other games, which there is a certain truth to this, but on the other hand, Gaijin provides us with the huge variety of game modes and huge variety of vehicles. So now the situation is this, that any helicopter can use anti-tank missiles right from the start, and you know, with the introduction of the KI-52 next patch, that grows to up to 12. The G-LYNX here has more quote-unquote only 8. So you can imagine, after seeing the result of this one, or this match, what the KI-50 might be possible, or might have been possible, next patch, if it would have been introduced the same way as all other helicopters. So next patch, I think helicopters still can use their cannon or machine gun armament. They can use their dumbfiring missiles or even bombs. And if you give then both sides in the rock, paper, scissors playstyle the opportunity to counter helicopters like this, I think the population of helicopter players will drastically be reduced. But here is the problem. Just look at MadGelo. It's not his fault. He uses in this battle the helicopter to his best of abilities. He uses perfect positioning, prioritization, you know, what a good player should get rewarded for. He also uses then one of those Stinger missiles versus the MiG-21 and gets the kill for that as well. So 11 tank kills and 1 aircraft kill. Very impressive. And now he returns from his second journey back to the helipad. It's not his fault that the situation is like it is, and so he probably bought the helicopter to research the helicopters of the British tech tree, right? And there are quite some helicopters. They're expensive, so he needs to play this thing a lot. Now, can you imagine that when it gets reverted to that you have to use a tank, how screwed some of the British tankers are, because either they don't have tanks at all at this battle rating, which might be understandable, or the tanks that they have are really slow. Yes, with the next patch, some more mobility comes even in, but let's be honest here, if you go with some of the premiums, it can get expensive quite quickly. And as much as I like the Roy card, you know, you first have to grind that as well. So the thing is, helicopter players get screwed over like tankers before, like aircraft before. It's an up and down, and this is one of those problems they have with War Thunder. You know, it's just that there are no possibilities for the single game modes. I know the arguments, and at first glance they sound okay. You know, splitting the player base isn't good, would increase queue times. But to just leave the situation as it is and say, well, we can't do anything about it, that's also not really satisfying. And as many people will join for that kind of opportunity, many more will also leave. At least this is my opinion. This is what I get as feedback from the community. Now, when it comes to the situation being reversed back, when it comes to helicopters, I think it is a good change to increase the spawn points for ATGMs as additional ordnance for helicopters above 450. I think this will bring only good stuff. Helicopter players that really rely on this are screwed, but that's Gaijin for you. You get Gaijin regardless on which side you are. Again, this could be an argument for more testing, more quality control, consulting experienced players before introducing stuff like this. There are so many opportunities, testing stuff on the dev server, you know, practically letting people trying to abuse the game, because then you can fix it before you introduce it. Before then you make people mad if you fix it that previously bought into this to abuse the situation. I know it's the internet, but you know, the things that people say about Gaijin are not the best. They don't trust this company. They don't really think that this company is reliable. And can you blame them after all the overpowered premiums that then were introduced, and then oopsie daisy, we made a mistake, we need to nerf it back into the ground after apparently the sales drop. That's just a picture that is shown over and over and over and over and over again. Not just for a week, a month, but for years. And it became so consistent for the better part of, what, 5 years right now. I want War Thunder to be the greatest game that there is. It has the right potential. It has all the right ingredients. But maybe the cooks are not really capable of bringing the things together the way that they could be brought together. Now, I also like here the fight versus this MiG-19 PT. He dodged him, and then he tries to obviously shoot him down with the air-to-air missiles. So that's the first one right there, and it looks good, but it barely misses because the MiG-19 PT pulled a bit too hard. Now in rear aspect, that should be an easy kill, right? Second one out, but again he dodges. So while those missiles are pretty good, the MiG-19 also can evade it unless it goes for a direct head-on attack, having to evade an FJ-4B, and third time's the charm. Good stuff right there. And yeah, those are 2 aircraft kills and 16 tank kills. That's more than a triple ace, and he still has some ordnance left. So this is as good as you can effectively expect it to go. He shoots another one on a freshly respawned MBT and knocks him out for finally 19 kills. And just look at the points. The points of his teams are not even visible anymore. So he really carried here hard. He killed the entire team more than once. So what are there, like 16 enemy players? He got 19 kills. That is one hell of an impact. Imagine this being a battle result with a tank. It would be the most awesome battle ever, especially at top tier. So that is what is always there when I talk about helicopters being way too good, and especially with a good pilot, you effectively have barely a chance. And this was not even the best helicopter. Imagine this having been achieved to the Ki-50. The comments would be like, ah, I can do this as well with the Ki-50. The ultimate problem with helicopters is that they can't be balanced via the battle rating or the repair cost. They're just outside of the functional system. And Gaijin now has done the appropriate steps to counter this, with as of next patch, where I'm really grateful for, because I think this was a necessary step. On the other hand, Gaijin was also the ones causing the issues in the first place, despite the warnings, and, well, there are still no effective counters to the most outspammed helicopter, that is the Ki-50 and the upcoming Ki-52. So I think it's a quick change, but it's all the more baffling that it took so long. And Gaijin probably trying it to sell as one of the greatest victories that there is. Nonetheless, MadGelo, thank you for sending in this replay. It was very well played, but it also demonstrated why this change is probably about to happen. So that's it for me today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please give this video a like with it. Subscribe if you want to see more. And we'll see each other on the battlefields, on the waves, and in the skies of War Thunder.